This one is actually kind of, it's kind of entertaining, in a twisted sort of way. So
Okay.
former North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory can't find a job,
This is the
and
former governor, right?
this is former North Carolina
Yeah.
Governor Pat McCrory can't find a job because, according to him, it's tough to do so when people think you're a bigot.
Wow. Why would anyone think that, Pat Backroom Bill McCrory's a bigot? I mean, there's nothing in his legislative history that would make anyone think such a thing about him. That sounds like people are overreacting to the fact that he tried to ban trans people from bathrooms.
Yeah. See, this is why you have to be smart when you're in office as well, right? Because you do have to live afterwards. And I, as much as of an asshole as I am, I don't wish ill on most anybody except for Richard Spencer. Like, he could die of the plague. But Pat McCrory, you're an asshole while you're in office. People are going to take note of that. You're not going to go get a job at a booming law firm, because that law firm would no longer be booming. He's toxic at this point. So you reap what you sow, right? You're dick to the people of North Carolina, and now you're going to be jobless. Hopefully he has some money saved up, or else he's going to need that safety net. The best fitting into this story would be him needing SNAP benefits. Let me stop being evil. Go ahead.
No, I mean, but this is just another in a line of stories about how people who engage in some sort of oppressive regime, for lack of a better word, whose life includes a substantial period of time where they were trying to oppress either trans people, gay people, black people, women, how they still expect to be treated with a certain level of not only respect and dignity, but they expect people to not take those actions as indicative of who they are as a person, or rather they expect not to be judged poorly on that. And so you have Pat McCrory basically coming out and saying, like, I don't understand how anyone could think I'm a bad person just because I decided to sign a bill that would ban trans from the bathrooms, and I don't understand why people would want to be mean to me because of that. And I think it's a good sign. Like, I know that we're going to see 1,000 think pieces in Washington Post in a few days about how Pat McCrory being unable to get a job after signing a trans bill is akin to, like, what's the most offensive comparison I can think of making?
Slavery. Somehow somebody's going to tie it into.
It's somehow like black people being beat at the counter while trying to resist integration, or some specious comparison, because like that's the kind of circles they run in, where this thin veil of professionalism masks deep prejudice, deep desires to continue the heteronormative patriarchy, and it becomes very problematic. And that's why I'm glad when stuff like this happens to Pat McCrory. I'm glad when stuff like what happened at Middlebury happens to Charles Murray, and because it means that we're moving forward. That these people are no longer allowed in discourse. That they are being punished by society.
Truth be told, though, Brandon, all he has to do is wait about 8 years, go paint some pictures, and then somebody will invite him to the version of the North Carolina version of all the night shows that he went on. So he's just expecting too much too soon. Like, you were just to transgender Americans like last week, bitch. Give us at least a year before people start rehabilitating your image, like we've done with George Bush.
He's not even actually trying to give that grace period, or a better term, because actually, now that I'm looking at this, so it originally, he's not actually having trouble. In his it started in a podcast where he said people are reluctant to hire me because, oh my gosh, he's a bigot, which is the last thing I am. But he goes on to say two things. First of all, he said he went on to say that I've currently accepted several opportunities in business to do work that I've done previously, prior to becoming governor, in consulting and advisory boards. And he's exploring other opportunities. But in the same podcast, he said, where's this quote? Because this is he keeps throwing. He said he claimed that the left had introduced a radical concept of gender identity to North Carolina and blamed liberal groups for harming his reputation.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh well.
I will say this though. I don't think it's about proximity to when he did it. I think it had largely to do with what group he targeted, and the LGBTQ community. Targeting them in America is kind of a double-edged sword. Sometimes you can get away with it, and sometimes you can't. It's not like targeting Black people. It's not like targeting women. But like, sometimes like targeting women, but like targeting the LGBTQ community, like that does largely have implications for your career after you target them for whatever reason that may be.